What is up, you guys? More, and welcome back to the Daddy Diesel channel. I will be taking a moment today to talk on something that is a little bit more serious. And I want to do my best today to make sure that I'm able to explain myself as best as I can possibly in this video. And I don't intend for this video to be overly long, like I've said before, but I want to make sure that I'm able to dive into this discussion because I find often whether it's email, whether it's DMs to my TikTok or my IG, or some comments here on YouTube. I want to talk a little bit about racism here in Finland. So, guys, what I want to do today is make sure that I'm able to express myself to the best of my ability. I understand that sometimes, people can make cuts and clips and things like that of what I say on social media. And it's very important to me that I don't utilize a 60-second clip to talk about racism in Finland. It's very important to me that I'm able to dissect a little bit about how I feel on this subject, what I've experienced here in Finland, and be open and honest about it. I have to say, in my experience, that I have not come across racism, and that more so being, I have not come across things that I would consider to myself to be people either putting me down or treating me a certain way based off of my skin color and or racial ethnicity. And I would like to share with you today something that actually did happen. And many people watching this video will, in fact, say, this is racism. This is racism at its core. Daddy Diesel, you're crazy that you don't call this racism. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and break that down for you now, an experience that I did have here in Finland. And I'm going to show you something that I hope has an impact on you today. Because for me, I want to change your mind. I want to change your process of thinking, whether you're someone that is not a minority and if you're someone that is a minority. Being open to racism has nothing to do with being black, it has everything to do with being considered the minority within a certain construct of a nation, a country, and a location, and being at times held under stipulations of lower class and value due to the fact of what you are. And that can jump, outside of obviously race and jump into other things, hate and discrimination. It can be found everywhere. So you guys obviously know that. I don't need to dive into that. But we're going to go ahead and break it down into something that I did experience at the end of last year, my first experience ever, 4 years in. That happened in November. So what I pulled up here is a message that I actually received via email. Now, I took the liberties to go ahead and cover the name of the individual. It is not my intention to demoralize, to degrade, or to make this individual feel anything other than an opportunity of growth. So if the individual is watching this today, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. It would be an honor to meet you in person. It would be an honor to connect with you in person. I have no issues with you. I have no qualms with you. I guarantee that you are a good person at heart. And perhaps today was just a day that you had feelings that you wanted to elicit. And I'm glad that we were able to speak to one another. Let's get into this. So, I'm going to be explicit with this video, so excuse anyone that I might offend. And I hope that you guys are able to hold on to this and have a moment of clarity and a moment of wokeness, as they say, but not that kind of wokeness, but just opening your eyes to being able to see what I see. And I hope that I can help you with that today. So, in this message, the title of this email that I received says, Fuck Off Finland. Now, this might get blocked. I don't know. I am reading what I am seeing. This is something that was directed towards me. I might bleep this out later. It's not because of the word having any significance to myself, but just because I want to make sure that you guys are able to see this video and I don't want you to miss it, due to YouTube's standards and rules. The individual said from their first message, if we find you, you're deaf. So, of course, when I see this message, I think I saw it. It says 10:18 p.m. It was nighttime. And when I saw it, it brought a smile to my face. I'm not here to play jokes with you guys, to play hard with you guys, to try to pretend like I'm something that I'm not. I am who I am, and this is my true reaction to it. I don't have time to lie to you. I like to be direct and I like to be honest. So in this case, when I said I smiled, I literally, and I realized that first of all, wow, this is my first experience of this matter here in Finland. And the second thing I realized is, of course, this person doesn't, obviously speak English as their first native language due to the way the sentence was formulated. So my next response to that is a mere smile, right? So to me, I knew I was going to engage with this individual. Just one thing so you guys can know about me. It is not easy to offend me. I'm not a person, and I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm so strong, you can't dig under my skin. I'm not saying those things, but a lot of times, to me personally, especially if I don't know you, you're not family, you're not related to me. I feel no sense of why should I allow you to get under my skin? I don't know you, So whether you say things that are good or bad, it's not for me to overly internalize these things because you don't even truly know me. So in this moment, I just give a smile, and the next message that they say is answer me one question. Why do y'all always want to move, with white folks? Question mark. Why never stay with your own kind? Why not Africa? I'm in a cyber group. We will find where you live and your family in the US. Now, once again, I read these words and it has zero significance to me. I'm a strong believer in when my time comes, my time comes. It's not something that I am running from. I don't know how many years left I have to live. If I'm blessed to have many, then awesome. If I'm not, it is what it is. I'm happy that every day I'm able to work hard for my family, spend time with my family, and give the best that I can to them. So, therefore, to me, that is the value of my life. And when my time, like I said, it comes to me, it comes. We have to receive our time as it comes. But that message means little to me because my next response in my mind, what I formulate is, I want to get to understand this individual because a lot of times to me, you take away the racism, you take away the hate, you take away the demoralizing words that someone says, and what you find is an individual that, in one way or another, is dealing with their own internal struggles. Now, a lot of us don't want to see that. A lot of us don't care, and all power to you. I'm not here to dictate how you see the world. But for me personally, I have in my personal background experienced what it is like to react and be reactionary, to be violent, to hurt others. And I will be honest with you, my heart, who I am as a person, no matter how many people I have hurt, no matter how many people I have been physical with, and different things like that, when I leave the situation, in the moment I'm furious, I'm angry, and all of those things. But when I leave the situation, I never feel like a bigger man. I never feel like I am a better person. I always feel like shit, 100%. All of the anger, all of the aggression, all of the steam that came out of me in that moment felt good. The pleasure of doing it in that moment. But then I have to sit by myself in that room, in that dark place, and I have to reflect on everything that I've done. And that part I hate. And to me, I started to realize, and this is something I realized while I was doing security as a bouncer before I even became a professional bodyguard. I started to realize the power of the words, the power of knowing that, yes, I might be able to physically hurt this person, maybe even physically overpower them. But to be able to utilize my words, my brain, this is the gift that can stop so much violence, right? Now, and I'm not opposed to violence, so don't get me wrong. And I know other people might disagree with me. I find violence to be necessary evil when it is the necessary thing to do in situations that you have to be drastic. You have to step up to that plate and you have to get it done. But where I can find myself a place to avoid it, when I know I can, then I do. Because there's many situations that we come across each other, we're boasting our chest man to man or whatever the situation is, and we find ourselves in the place where it's pride. And I won't let my pride win me over in many situations because, like I said, my pride that has come up in the past. Later on, when my pride melts down, I'm left with nothing but regret and guilt. This is for me, not for everyone else. If that's your experience, if you don't have that, it is what it is. But diving back, I asked the gentleman, what's your favorite food to eat? And their next respond, less than 2 minutes later, hey, don't really have one. Nachos? Maybe you? Question mark. This moment brought so much joy to my heart because, of course, I wasn't sure what the next terms could have been. It could have been like, oh, why it could have kept going. And it could have. I still would have stayed within my parameters of where my mind was mentally that day. The moment that I got that response, a joy just filled me because I felt in my heart, wow, there it is. Whether his intention was to actually attack me because of the complexion of my skin, whether his intention was to rile me up because maybe he sees me on social media and I'm an easy target and maybe he's might have envy or hate, whatever it is. People do different things for different reasons. I was so filled with joy when I saw that here's a guy that just wanted to be heard. And I know that a lot of us, like I said, we're not okay with the fact that people will rile up and yell and scream. But unfortunately, man, we live in a generation of time where, and I'm not making an excuse, but a lot of young men and men in general, you know, uh, aren't allowed to express themselves without feeling like they have to be hard or tough. You feel like you can't be yourself. I feel within my parameters, I had to become comfortable with the fact of saying, hey, I want to be a lamb to my home and a lion to the world. And that concept to me is I want to be soft and kind to my family and stern and tough when I have to be with them. I want to be soft and lovable and affectionate to my son, but just as stern and just as serious as I have to be as well. There doesn't have to be an ultimatum that you're always a hard father or partner or whatever. You can just be you. We go outside, we're having a good time. I'm having a good time. The moment that I realize that there's a threat, that there's a situation, then this is where I feel it's time for me to address, to stern myself up, to start becoming more aware of what's going on. Do I have to assert myself? Does this bring danger to my family or the ones that are around me, right? So in this situation, a lot of young men out there, a lot of men in general, are feeling a sense of detachment that I can't express myself and people hear me because if I whine about it, oh, he's a whiny bitch. He's soft. He's a pussy, right? But when I take the time to scream it in anger, not I'm just an angry guy, but at least they're hearing me. They're reacting to me. It's just like a kid that throws a tantrum because they're trying to get your reaction. Not in the sense that they want you to yell at them or scream at them, but a lot of kids, unfortunately, when they don't get that attention that they want, they do these things and they're looking and seeking any attention. And here we are. And this gentleman responds, as I said, hey, don't really have one. Nachos, maybe you. And I said, wait, what kind of dip? And the gentleman says, nacho cheese. I don't like spicy food. BBQ is good too, right? BBQ is good too. And I respond to the gentleman. I said, nacho cheese is pretty fire. My favorite nacho cheese is the one you can get at the movies. Hey, though, I've got to be up at 6, excuse me, for my international clients. I'll give you a shout in the morning. Please have a wonderful night. And this gentleman responds, You too. One thing that I think is very important, it's not easy, especially for the ones we love, right? We argue and we bicker with our partners and our families and our siblings. One thing that I think is very important is to find out what someone's intention is. Because sometimes, based off of unfortunately our own experiences, negative in our life, we tend to have a perception of what others mean before they're able to express it. Sometimes that can be accidental. 100% someone says something that triggers something in you that makes you react in an angry way. And sometimes people say things that seem very direct to what they mean. But even then, what do you mean by that? I wanted to take this opportunity to, if this is your first experience, if this is true, you might just be drunk. But if this is true, I want this to be a good experience because I want this to be an experience that perhaps, just perhaps, if you come across someone else like me, no, they're not going to be just like me. They might not think like me. They might not talk like me. But I wanted to be that if you do come across someone else like me, you're able to possibly have an open mindset to saying, hey, I met someone like this before. He was really down to earth and he talked to me and he talked to me like a person. And like I said, because I don't want this video to be too long, some people would say, hey man, especially the first one, that's racism. And perhaps it was. But for me, it was a moment of learning, an opportunity to build clarity. One thing for me that's hard is I feel as though personally for myself, situations in my life have made me think how I do. And it's so hard because unless you experience some of the things that I have, you will struggle to understand why I think the way I do in regards to things like racism. I think that it's best that I make a part two for this video because I would like to go into further depths, but I want to get some of you guys' thoughts on the matters that I've talked about right now. I don't wish to dive overly deep into, the stories of those things that have happened. I think that was good enough in a nutshell of what I've shared. But in the future, I think I would like to talk a bit about why I look at racism the way I do, why I don't take it to heart like so many do. And it's not to overlook it. People are experiencing crazy things around this world, man. And it saddens my heart. But at the same time, for me, the way I can close it out is for me, I've been granted an opportunity from so many people here in Finland that were minorities and definitely in my own country, so many people that fought and died so that I could be who and where I am today. And it is so hard for me. It is so hard for me not to do everything in my power to take advantage of every opportunity and to work hard and work smart and to open doors where I can just by living and doing. I can't guide you. I'm not a guiding tour leader. I'm not these things. What I can do is show you based off actions. That's what's more important to me than anything. Your words mean nothing to me. How you live and what you do, that is the bread and butter to what dictates you as a real person, to me personally. And for me, like I said, I appreciate those that have never spoken to me, that I'll never meet, that have died hundreds of years ago before I even drew breath. And they just wish for freedom. They just wish for opportunity. They just wish for equality. And that's not just African Americans, that's so many races around the world. And, even Finnish people amongst themselves, they have their own history, their own sufferings, their own trials, and ways that they feel, and the ways that they might be treated outside of their own country as well. And to me, I know that we all have different sufferings, but to me, it's always trying to find common ground. I've noticed one thing that we do within race that we also tend to do even within pain. When people have different pain experiences, we separate ourselves rather than come together in order to nourish and to support each other. Oh man, I was abused growing up. Oh, well, I was sexually assaulted. Okay, well, here's this. I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. So sorry that you were sexually assaulted, or I'm so sorry that you were abused. But herein lies an opportunity to connect because pain is pain. There are different levels of what people experience, but pain is pain. And to separate yourselves is a sad thing to do because so much more growth could happen in this world if we were able to connect in these ways. And to be able to connect with each other, that narrative could truly change the world. But like I said, I'm carrying on too much. I am definitely going to be making a part two to dive a little bit more into how my mind got into this place of thinking. I hope that today's video was able to connect with you guys, that you were able to have an opportunity to hear this all the way through. I know, I promise I wouldn't talk so long, but um, I just want to thank you guys so much for sticking around, watching this video. By the way, guys, I'm not down. I know that I'm realizing to myself, I sound like I'm super down reading this. It's not. I just think that there's so much in my mind that I want to say and speak on, but I'm trying to navigate how to say these things. It's so sad that we live in a day now that even when I have all good intentions to say things that I want to say, people can take them in all types of ways. Now, hear me out. I don't care. Take it as you want. But what's important to me is I strongly do believe in outlining what I want to say and how I want to say it and how I want it to be received. That is important to me. Not exactly how people treat it, not how people take the message and make it into their own thing. You can do that. You can make whatever I say, you can make it into something completely different in your hearts and minds. But I'm saying from me, when it comes out my mouth, I always want to make sure that when I'm saying something, it's delivered the way I intended it at the end of the day. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate you guys spending your time to even watch my video. So thank you so much because I know I just ramble. But you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your time. And as always, it's a Moika out situation. Moika out.
Today you love me, tomorrow you say fuck it. You kicking rocks now, I'm feeling suffocated.